The reality is that nobody needs me. That doesn't mean I don't have something to offer. And so I'm not here to create or find people that need me. I'm here to offer what I have to offer to those that are looking for and are ready for what I have to offer, to receive what I have to offer. And ideally, every single person that hears this is either one, already enlightened, but most likely they wouldn't be listening if they were, or number two, is ready. They're like, oh my God, this is it. It's so easy. There's more than enough of everything. I can do whatever I want. I'm on the bandwagon. And now life is dedicated to that. Now I personally, I don't know what could possibly be more valuable or more worthy of my attention than to consciously cultivate a life of more than enough of everything, of total freedom. I can do whatever I want. Why would I purposely give attention to, I can't do whatever I want, and there's all these things that I have to do, when I could give my attention to, I can do whatever I want? I mean, logically speaking, it's ridiculous, right? And yet it's happening. It's happening. Well, the reason why it's happening is because that life conditioning, all that conditioning. Ever since we were born, we've been conditioned every day. Life is difficult. There's not more than enough of everything. You got to work for what you have. You know, blah, blah, blah. Life is difficult. It's cold outside. You know, wear shoes. It's dangerous. You know, you're going to get sick. You know, you definitely can't be naked because that's inappropriate. You know, you absolutely under no circumstances can, you know, touch your genitalia or anybody else's genitalia because that's just like as bad as it gets. You know, like hardcore suppression, hardcore conditioning every single day. No, you can't eat whatever you want. We don't have enough of it. It's too expensive. We don't have it at all. It's going to make you fat. You're going to get sick. You know, it's bad. Blah, 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 blah. It's only for dessert. You have to eat this. You have to eat that. You can't eat this. You can't eat that. No, you can't go to sleep when you want to go to sleep. You don't know when it's good for you to go to sleep. You don't know when you're tired. You got to go to sleep at this time because this is the time that you have to go to sleep. You know, you can't wake up whenever you want. You don't know when you're rested. You don't know when a good time to wake is. You got to wake up at this time, or you're lazy, or you're grounded, or blah 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 blah. Conditioning, hardcore conditioning. And it's so normal. It's so normal that most of us don't even really realize that it's that devastating because it's just so normal and it's been there so long. And our friends are like that way. Our family is like that way, and it just goes on. It goes on. It goes on. It goes on. It goes on. So what I'm doing here is I'm sharing a new paradigm perspective, you know, to sort of, you know, have that little spark. I don't care if you believe me, and I don't even want you to believe me. You don't even have to have faith. Just question. Just ask yourself, what if? What if there were more than enough of everything? Would that be a more enjoyable reality than the current reality of there's not enough of anything? If so, then cultivate it, because I've already proven that it's true. I've already proven it. You have to be in total denial to argue with what I've just proven. And that was just a little minuscule of the proof that I have access to. Do your own research, ask your own questions. You don't have to believe the statistics that I'm telling you. They're facts. They're already there. You just find them. And this is why responsibility is so key. I can't do it for you. You have to do it yourself. Life is a miracle. There's more than enough of everything. It's all okay. Anyone want to say anything?
That was awesome.
I do. In 1997, I was taking it was my freshman year of college, and I was taking an introductory agriculture course, and in 1997, the average world food production was at 107%, which
means what?
which means there was way more than it. It summed up what you said as far as
There
the
was
abundance
there was
goes. There was way
7%
more
more
than enough food.
7% more.
Yeah, just on the average, it proved that it wasn't a question of having enough resources. It was a matter of distribution and waste, and of course, a lot of that being a result of just a corporate, the way it's distributed and allocation of things.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. And the facts is that you can look at it in a couple different ways. In one way, we have way more now than we used to have. In another way, we have less. And it just depends on how you look at it. So, if you go back to 1950s, for example, a family of 4 could live in a house in California, and you could buy that house for $8,000 to $10,000. And the average income for someone at that time was around that much per year. A middle class person made enough to actually pay for a whole house in a year. Now that same house is like $300,000, and people aren't making $300,000 a year. They're making 50, 60, 70. Right? So the same size house, not only does it cost more, but we're making relatively less. It takes, 4 years now, if we were to spend every single cent that we made, which we can't, on that house, it would take now 4 years instead of 1 year to pay that off. So we actually have 4 times less as far as what our value, what our money is worth. Here's another fact. If you look at the value of our money since the Federal Reserve came into reality in 1933, the value of the dollar has devalued 90%. Our dollar is worth 10% now of what it was worth in 1933. That's not even 100 years, which means that every year we have 1% less value for our dollar. Which means that by the time you have children, they're going to have 20 to 30% less than what you have. The facts is that, in 2008, we had this, financial crisis, this economy collapse. And now we're supposedly recovering from this financial, crisis. And the stock markets are up, and the stock markets are the highest they've been since 1996, and it's like, oh yeah, people are putting their money back in the stock market. But it's an illusion. It's an illusion, because even though the numbers of the stock market are higher than 1996, the value of the money is almost 10% less than what it was in 1996. Right? So the only way you can actually find the facts is, for example, how many gallons of gas can you buy with $1? How many gallons of milk can you buy with $1? How many loaves of bread can you buy with $1? Or how many ounces of gold can you buy with $1? And if you compare what you could buy in 1996 or 1950 compared to what you can buy now, you get way less. You get way less for that dollar than you did in 1996 or in 1950. So even though there's more money, there's still less value for that money. So these are the things you actually have to look at. These are the real facts, the real truth, and it gives us a real perspective on what's actually happening. So there is way more than enough of everything. We're just disconnected from that. Just like the truth is always available, we're just disconnected from the truth. Go, question and research 9/11. Do it and see what actually happens. Spend 10 hours. It's worth 10 hours. Spend 10 hours researching and reading and watching videos about 9/11 from a spectrum of resources and see what you find. Do the same thing about the Federal Reserve and see what you find. Do the same thing about, the Sandy Hook shooting. Do the same thing about the war in Iraq. Do the same thing, with Monsanto. Do the same thing with, you know, the laws and the bills that are being passed in the United States. Like, actually question, actually research, and what you'll see is that what's being portrayed, right, what's being told, the illusion that's being weaved for the people is far different than what the actual truth really is. Right, so all the media is talking about, again, like I said, how the stock market is all great and the economy is great, you know, and we can start investing and blah, 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 but it's a scam. It's a scam, because the real truth is that it's actually weaker than it was. It still is weaker. And every single year, the value of the dollar is less. Every single year, the value of the dollar is less. Every single year, the value of the dollar is less. And the debt of the United States is more. The debt of the United States is more than ever. Way more than ever. It's just disconnection. If all the money in the whole world were to disappear right now, we'd still have everything. Everything would still exist. And there'd be no debt. And if we were to stop wasting, 100% of everything that's used can be repurposed, recycled in some way. And yet we've got billions and billions of tons of trash going to landfills. It's being wasted. It's not being reused. They call it waste for a reason. But it's not waste in and of itself. We're deeming it waste from a delusional state of mind. Everything has value. Everything has value. Everything has value. Everything has a purpose. Everything has value. Everything has value. Life, from the smallest molecule, you know, to the biggest solar system, has value, and it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. And our perspective, our filter, is the dictator of our experience. And so, rather than going outside of ourselves, come in, right here, right now, it's all okay. It's all okay right now.